Meanwhile, the Bush White House broke elections law.
Hey, what happened?
Surprise, surprise.
What? You gotta be kidding me. Many of you will remember this story that Karl Rove was assembling people in government, in the executive, basically outlining a strategy of how to turn their agencies into mechanisms in which to elect more Republicans. New York Times reports yesterday, the Bush White House, yesterday or today? Yesterday, the Bush White House, particularly before the 2006 midterm elections, particularly, but frankly the entire time you're in office, routinely, it's routine. In other words, it happens like in the same way that you would get coffee in the morning. Wow, that's surprising you have coffee. No, that's my routine. Every morning I go and I brew a cup of coffee and I get it on the way to after I brush my teeth or before I brush my teeth, or I get coffee at the Dunkin' Donuts on the way to work. That's my routine. The Bush White House routinely violated a federal law. In other words, by violated, they mean broke a federal law. In other words, performed a criminal act that prohibits the use of federal tax dollars to pay for political activities by creating a political boiler room that coordinated Republican campaign activities nationwide, a report issued Monday by an independent federal agency. So they routinely performed criminal acts, breaking the Hatch Act, the law that says federal employees cannot engage in political campaigning while they're on the federal dime, I guess. The report of the Office of Special Counsel finds that the Bush administration's Office of Political Affairs, overseen by Karl Rove, served almost as an extension of the Republican National Committee. Because to serve as an extension of the Republican National Committee, the name of the office would not be Office of Political Affairs. It would be called Extension of the Republican National Committee. And because they never did that, it was only almost as an extension of the Republican National Committee. Developing a target list of congressional races, organizing dozens of briefings for political appointees to press them for work for party candidates, and sending cabinet officials out to help these campaigns. The report based on about 100 pages of documents and interviews with 80 Bush administration officials, took more than 3 years, documented how these political activities accelerated before the 2006 election. This included helping coordinate fundraising by Republican candidates and pressing Bush administration political appointees to help with Republican voter turnout pitches. So in other words, if you've been appointed to the FDA, what can the FDA do to help Republicans win? Or the EPA, or any other agency that can be used strictly for political purposes. The Office of Special Counsel, a relatively obscure federal agency, is charged with enforcing the Hatch Act, a 1939 law that prohibits federal employees from engaging in partisan political activity. Certain members of the White House political staff, including top aides at the office, are exempt, but the law still prohibits the use of federal money, even by these officials, to support political causes. The report found that during the Bush administration, senior staff members at the Office of Political Affairs, such as Karl Rove, for instance, violated the Hatch Act by organizing 75 political briefings from 2001 to 2007. So that would be 75 violations right there of the Hatch Act. The investigators also found evidence that the Bush White House improperly classified travel by senior officials as official government business when it was, in fact, political. And the costs associated with the travel were never reimbursed. In other words, tax dollars were misappropriated. You could say embezzled. A spokesman for the Office of Special Counsel said Monday, and this is the coup de grace, folks, because remember, in this administration, a spokesman for the Office of Special Counsel said Monday that because the administration officials had left office, it no longer has jurisdiction to file any charges. That's right, folks. Don't look back. Let's turn the page. It also said that it has not made a formal referral to the Justice Department to ask it to pursue any possible charges. And a Justice Department official on Monday declined to comment when asked if it might file charges based on the report. Of course they won't. Of course they won't. Turn the page, folks. Turn the page. That I'll tell you something. If you wanted to go on, you wanted to rob a bank, you just go in. You tell the judge, "I robbed the bank in the past. Can't we let the past be the past? I mean, why are we wasting all these judicial resources on not helping the American people?" The FDIC will insure the bank. The bank has insurance. GDP goes up. They're going to hire more security. They got to replace the safe I blew up. Let's just turn the page, Judge. Come on. Come on. Let's do the bidding of the American public. So there you have it, folks. The key is that when you commit these offenses while in office, the violation of the Hatch Act, it's an old law. Let's be honest. It's an old law. It was from 1939. That was almost, centuries ago. Centuries. Did they even have a constitution in 1939? Was there an American Constitution in 1939? I'm not sure about that.
I have no idea.
No, it's almost impossible to know because I don't think they had the written word back then. Folks, it's a very old law, the Hatch Act. And if you're not in public office at the time, if you happen to stall and say, I'm going to testify, I'm going to run out the clock, or I'm going to resign when I start to feel the heat, Karl Rove, then there's nothing you can do unless the Justice Department steps in to file other charges. But, that would be looking backwards, and there's nothing to be gained from that. We all know that. In society, we never prosecute anybody for what they've done in the past. It's all future crimes now. We just haven't developed technology to perfect the future crimes. We come back. We will talk to Digby about the potential future crimes that may be outlined tonight in the State of the Union address. We'll be right back. Sam Seder on the Majority Report.